Let's check in with Judah, a chef and restaurateur who has opened restaurants across the US, the Caribbean, and now Ghana. Judah does come under a bit of fire from me on the authenticity of jerk cuisine outside of Jamaica. Can we call it jerk if the ingredients aren't right?
As a Jamaican, we're fiercely possessive
Yes.
of our term,
Yes.
jerk, right? So even when you say Caribbean, I'm feeling a little bit, it's Jamaican though, you know?
Yeah.
So what would you have to say about that? Because yes, food is for everyone,
Yeah.
but when it comes to some kind of like food sovereignty, where would you stand on that?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. And I've been asked that before. I mean, I've been doing jerk soul for like, what, 8 years now? And so I would always let my Jamaican brothers and sisters know that, yes, there is jerk here, but I have tons of other menu items that are not Jamaican.
So we both know that jerk is a laundry list of ingredients. How have you found, or are you sourcing your ingredients
Or
from
not
here?
found.
Right.
I already know what you're about to ask me. Oh my goodness.
What am I going to ask you?
What she's about to ask me is, how are you sourcing Caribbean or Jamaican ingredients here? In the West, easy,
Yes.
easy. So let me just say this. So in America, even though even though my food is more of a fusion, I respect the culture. You know, I grew up, but even before I lived in the Caribbean, I grew up on dance hall. I grew up eating jerk chicken since I was this tall.
It's interesting that you've not touched Jamaica at all.
I'm coming around to it.
I'm waiting.
I'm coming around to it. I mean, of course, I've had a ton of jerk in Jamaica, of course, which is, that's outside of America, of course, but you know, the homeland has the best. Okay. But what I noticed was the restaurants in the States, they wasn't doing it the authentic way.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe they didn't know. I mean, they never lived there before. I have. So I know. So in my Instagram post, I would be showing bags of pimento wood. Just to show people that, and a lot of people didn't even know what that is. You know what I'm saying? In the States or whatever. But I'm showing people like, look. And I'm outsourcing it, I'm buying it from Jamaica to St. Louis, Missouri. You know what I'm saying? Just so that it can be right.
Yes.
And so it can be perfect. You know, I don't call it authentic, I call it modern. However, I know what it really is. I know what real jerk is, so I try to. So anyway, to answer your question, it's hard to find that stuff here.
Yeah.
It's hard to find it here. You're not going to find the wood here. But it took me at least almost 2 years for me to even find allspice berries. I do a lot of sourcing. I'm talking about, I'm in the trenches, all right? In different markets, just going around, talking to the different vendors and trying to find certain things. But, you know, ultimately I was able to find most of what I can. A lot of, for the first year or two, I was just getting it from the States. You know, all of my allspice, my thyme. So I was like, yo, I gotta plant sometime. I gotta plant something.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody.
Sure.
I can't please all the African Americans. I can't please all the Jamaicans. I can't please all the vegans. I can't please all of the Ghanaians. But I try. My motto is modern Caribbean food.
Okay.
I mean cuisine. Modern Caribbean cuisine.
Okay.
Not Jamaican.
Yeah, I understand. Fine, I guess.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers, thank you.
How do you like, how important is the diaspora to Ghana? Extremely important. Well, this is where many of them were taken from. You know, of course, if you've ever been to Ghana before, maybe you visited the slave guns in Cape Coast, Elmina, Accra, and so, you know, these were places that our ancestors, man, you know, again, this is where we were taken from, you know. And so when Ghana decided in 2019 to call us back, you know, after 400 years of being in the lands of our captivity, you know, we heard the call, you know. I didn't come until 2021, but, you know, so many people started to just come over here and really just reconnect. You know what I mean? I call the brothers and sisters here, I call them our long lost cousins. You know what I mean? And so what we're doing is we're just kind of relearning each other. It's been a long time. We're relearning each other, and you know, no matter if you're from the Netherlands, the UK, the Caribbean, America, whatever, if you're black and you're coming back to the motherland, you know, your DNA is reconnecting to the foundation. And so what we are experiencing by being here is peace. Healing is what we're experiencing. You know, the type of healing that we never even knew that was possible. You know what I mean? There's a lot of untreated trauma in our DNA, and it's time for us to heal. So we're learning a lot from our long lost cousins here, and they're learning a lot from us.
If we talk more about, if we dive more into the food and that diaspora connections, because as the resident Jamaican, the first time I came here, I was blown away by how much food connects us across the Atlantic Ocean. It blew my mind.
Really?
And, you know, because like when I saw hand pies here, I'm like, oh, but those are patties.
Yeah, it looks
Right?
like it.
The hard-dough bread that we cut, and, you know, I would, as a child, I would put tons of condensed milk on that, you know. So how have you seen, especially based on your background, like what are the food types that are here?
Well, the first thing I want to say is when I first got here and just kind of going around parts of Ghana,
Yeah.
I remember always saying like, man, this reminds me of Jamaica. This reminds me of the Caribbean. You know what I mean? So even outside of the food, there's a lot of similarities, you know. But when it comes to the food, so for instance, have you ever had wache?
Yes, rice and peas.
Exactly. You know, it's not the same.
It's not the same, but it looks the same.
Yes. Yes.
It's the same concept, and you know, in talking to a local friend here, you know, he says that we had to develop things in a way because we had to.
Yeah.
So even, you know, if you look across the Latin-speaking Caribbean, we see like mofongo and other things like that. They were trying to recreate fufu and kenkey and what's the other one? Banku.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true. Even like dumplings.
Yeah.
You know, yam. It's a lot of similarities, and it's really shocking because, you know, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I really didn't have a preconceived notion of what the food would be like. But to see the similarities I thought that was dope.
But even if you take it back also to the American South, and
Yeah.
you see the use of okra, the
I
use
was
of
just going to say that.
black eyed peas.
I was just going to say that
Alright,
too.
come on, say it.
Yes, that's exactly because, you know, I'm not an okra fan. I sell it. But ever since I was a kid, my granny would be, so in the American South, I'm not from the South, but my granny is. And so in America, we fry the okra,
Yeah.
right? We season it, put it in some cornmeal and deep fry it. You know, we deep fry everything. And so they love okra here.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of their soups. They eat a lot of soup.
Yes. But can we talk what they define as soup though?
It's first of all, it's too hot to be eating all this soup. But anyway, go ahead.
Because I find it hard because okay, so we would do what's called Saturday soup. So our soups are more brothy, it's hearty. But dumpling, we'll cut up bananas, we'll cut up yams, we'll cut up a whole bunch of stuff with the meat and peas. But here the soup is heavy.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to see. So because it's similar, I think that's why the local population here has taken to jerk soul in such a great way.
Okay.
Because this is black people food. No matter if it's the jerk side or the soul side, this is black people food, and these are black people. So, even though it's not a cuisine that they're used to, I just figured I'd kind of try to kick that door in a little bit. You know what I mean? It hasn't been easy at all. It hasn't been easy at all, but there was, at one point, the diaspora was my number one customer. That changed. The Ghanaians are my number one customer.
Fantastic, because I wanted to ask you, how was that changeover? And did you have to make any adjustments, probably introducing a local, that's our jerking jollof.
I'm all about fusions.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Chicago, listen, in Chicago, we jerk everything, okay? Ever since I was a kid, all right, we jerk everything. We jerk Italian food, we jerk Mexican food. Any kind of international cuisine, jerk it.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's everywhere, all around the States, everybody's doing fusions of jerk. But here, the local Ghanaians, I really think they definitely respect Caribbean culture. Because you can drive down the street and you go see Jamaican flags and you go see Bob Marley stickers on people's cars, and
Yes.
they love reggae.
Yes.
But the food really wasn't prevalent here, and so I believe now that there's more spots opening up now over the last, I'd say, 2 years. But I'm glad they're starting to really branch out, try something new, try something different, because it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you look at, the plethora of Ghanaian dishes, when you look at jerk, when you look at, a curry goat, and when you look at escovitch fish, it's same but different.
It's definitely different. It's definitely different. For instance, they don't curry their goat.
Yeah, they fry it.
Yeah, so when they see my menu and they have curry goat, okay, it's goat.
Yeah.
I never had curry goat. Let me try it, and then they like it.
So fusion is that point is where you would find a little bit of intersection, right?
Yeah.
If it's even that ingredient or maybe a technique, and then
And then they'll be more comfortable.
Yeah.
They'll be more comfortable with trying it.
Yeah.
So, when I first got here, there was people that said, maybe you should introduce some Ghanaian dishes, and I was like, no. I'm like, no, this is no. I gotta keep my focus. But I thought about it and I was like, nah, that makes sense. And I'll just do what I've always done. I'll do a fusion. And so, I was like, hey, why don't I fuse some Ghanaian dishes with jerk? So that's when I kind of came in with the jerk jollof. And that became my #1 seller.
Yeah. Tell me about your jerk jollof.
So jerk jollof it's simple. It's a bed of spicy jollof rice, all right? And then we take some jerk chicken, some escovitch veggies, chop it up, put it, actually I drizzle the jerk sauce on top of the rice, and then I top it with the escovitch veggies and the jerk chicken, and voila. The flavors just burst, and yeah.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like the future. Yeah, that's very good.